9 News Plus weather sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on this Monday here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi with a look at your Colorado weather forecast, which for today, notably calmer than what we dealt with yesterday throughout much of the weekend. Yesterday, we had severe thunderstorm warnings. We had a lot of snow in the mountains. We had some really strong winds last night, and we even got up to 62 degrees for us here in Denver yesterday, making it our warmest temperature in about 2 months. But today, notably calmer. You can look outside and see some of that as that view from Lookout Mountain, pretty tranquil on this Monday morning. Now, those winds still a little bit gusty at times, especially for friends into the foothills, but we're talking about more 40, maybe 50 mile an hour wind gusts as opposed to last night's 70 to 80 mile an hour wind gusts. We did have a 76 mile an hour wind gust in Boulder last night, and again, some of those gusts did approach 80 miles an hour for us into the foothills. Meantime, as you head a little further west, now this is mostly light snow for us out at the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels, but you might notice on the far right-hand side of your screen, that is some very slow-moving traffic, and it's probably some of that snow slowing things down a little bit for us here into the high terrain. So just keep in mind that it's still going to be snowing lightly for us into the higher elevations throughout our day today, but we'll see that snow kind of pick back up overnight tonight and into your day tomorrow. Those headlines, it's a windy Monday ahead for us. Again, not as windy as it was last night and throughout much of the day yesterday, but still you will notice the wind. It's still going to be a factor. It will also increase fire danger for southeastern parts of our state. Mountain snowfall continues. As I mentioned, it is generally pretty light snow for us through the day today, with that snow picking back up tonight and into tomorrow. And there's the potential for a bit more front range snow, and you guessed it, coming up on Wednesday, or as we call it now, Snow Wednesday. All right, as we look into southeastern Colorado, this is probably our main concern for today. Red flag warning until about 5 o'clock for southeastern parts of the state, including Pueblo, Walsenburg. And you might notice this is the part of the state where we had a lot of snow about 2 weeks ago, but that has since melted on off. So there's no moisture in the ground to unfortunately spare us here from some of these gusty winds, very dry conditions. So that's why that red flag warning is up until about 5 o'clock this afternoon. Could see some of those gusts get up to 50, 55 miles an hour in this part of the state. Winds here in the metro area, about 30 or so miles an hour for most of us. So again, there's certainly somewhere on the board between a breeze and kind of windy. It's somewhere in there where, again, you can certainly notice the breeze out there, and at times some of those strong gusts making it a bit more windy than breezy. So as we head through this afternoon, again, winds will be around, but then by tonight, those winds do slacken notably for us. We're talking about maybe 10 and 20 mile an hour winds as opposed to this afternoon's 30 to 40 to maybe even 50 mile an hour winds. So again, those winds die back down tonight, only for them to pick back up tomorrow morning. And tomorrow could be a bit windier than today, with those winds perhaps gusting closer to about 40 to 50 miles an hour, maybe some 60 mile an hour gusts for us into the foothills. Now off to the west, winter weather advisories for us into the high terrain. This is mostly for tonight and tomorrow. So what we're seeing right now, again, I'm showing you the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels where we're getting that light snow right now. As we head into your day tomorrow, that snow will intensify overnight and into your day tomorrow, and that's why those winter weather advisories are up. Could see an additional 5 to 10 inches of fresh snowfall, and those winds that could gust as strong as 65 miles an hour. And don't overlook that part of it here, folks, because that means visibility is going to be pretty difficult, and travel is going to be difficult for us into the high terrain throughout the day tomorrow. So today looks a lot better than tomorrow if you're traveling through the high country. HD Doppler radar still showing a little bit of that light snow continuing for us right along the I-70 corridor from the Glenwood Canyon area on west through Rifle and down into the Grand Valley. That's where, again, that snow, light to at times moderate snowfall, but again, the accumulation will really ramp up tonight and tomorrow for us here into the higher terrain. So forecast next few hours, again, mostly light snow, especially from about 285 on north. Then we kind of get a bit of a break early this evening, and then by late tonight and early tomorrow morning, that snow really ramps on up, and at times could be talking about 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates for us into the San Juans as well as into the West Elk. So south of I-70, we'll see those kind of higher snowfall rates or heavier snow overall, and then that snow pushes its way off to the north, with tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening looking like the prime time for any snow for us along and north of I-70. Good news is by about 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow night, that snow does come to a close just ahead of our next storm system. So we're kind of getting a lot of fresh refills for us here into the high country. So if you're a skier or snowboarder, you're probably loving this, but of course, keep in mind that we are looking at elevated avalanche danger. We did unfortunately have 2 avalanche-related fatalities over the weekend, so please be careful if you're heading up to the backcountry this week and this weekend. Know before you go, know exactly the avalanche danger. And again, most of us right now at about stage 2 or stage 3 elevated avalanche related concerns for us. Now over to temperatures, a lot of 20s and 30s for us in the high country. Gunnison, as usual, our cold spot, sitting there at the base of the Gunnison River Valley, so 14 degrees for you. Otherwise, again, 20s and 30s into the higher terrain. And then onto the eastern plains, mostly in the 40s and 50s. How about Springfield? Already up to 60 degrees. Yesterday, Lamar got up to 77 degrees. Just exceptionally warm for this time of year. Very, very unusual for us to be talking about near 80-degree temperatures at the end of February anywhere here across the state of Colorado. So for today here in Denver, we got up into the low 50s, mostly sunny skies. Again, a bit of a breeze, but it's a pretty nice day overall. Maybe I've overlooked this a little bit, but it's a pretty nice day for us here into the Denver area today. That wind, again, at times notable, but not as windy as it was yesterday afternoon and last night. And speaking of tonight, temperatures in the low 20s for those lows, and those breezes will continue through the early part of the evening. The wind slackens as we head through the evening. By the way, only a couple weeks away from our first 6 and 7 p.m. sunsets of the year. Tomorrow, upper 40s for us, partly cloudy skies and still a bit on the windy side. I think tomorrow will end up being windier than today. So if you're hoping to avoid those stiff breezes, today's a better day than tomorrow. I think today, generally speaking, an overall better weather day for an afternoon stroll, dog walk, afternoon jog, things like that. Today's gonna be better than tomorrow because tomorrow it's a little cooler, it's a bit windier, and it's also a bit cloudier for us here in the Denver area for our day tomorrow. Still 40s, 50s. This is right around our average for the final day of the month of February. And again, keep in mind tomorrow, the final day of the month of February. And speaking of which, well, we'll have some snow for us move its way into the high country for us, as mentioned, for us for our day tomorrow. Then it dies back down, and a secondary, stronger storm system moves in for Wednesday. And that'll lead to a lot of mountain snowfall, and that will eventually spread its way east. Now, for the Denver area, looks like between about 2 and 5 p.m. on Wednesday, we could see some snow showers around at this point. It does not look like that big of a deal because watch this. As I put this map into motion, the bulk of our storm system is going to pass off to our south and our east. So this looks to me like a Palmer Divide on south kind of storm for us, I-70 on south kind of storm for us on the eastern plains, where again, southeastern Colorado is going to get the bulk of our next storm system, and that means Wednesday night and Thursday morning. That part of the state could get a fair bit of snow, but for us here into the Denver area, we'll get a few snow showers Wednesday afternoon, maybe Thursday morning, and then otherwise it's just kind of cloudy and cold for us for Wednesday and Thursday. Then we ramp those temperatures back up again for your Friday and your Saturday. But once again, take a look at those snow impacts for Wednesday night and Thursday morning. I would call it snow big deal because, well, again, maybe talking about at this point, this looks like maybe 1 to 2 inches for us here in the Denver area, if that. Of course, we have to keep in mind if that takes place during a commute, that would have some pretty high impacts. But at this point, this looks to be a pretty low impact storm system, but we'll keep you posted with the latest on that. Meteorologist Greg Perez will have an update for you coming up at 9 News at noon, and also right here on 9 News Plus at 2 p.m. And then Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's in at 4 and 5 today, and then Meteorologist Danielle Grant in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Have a great rest of your Monday.